So if you've been looking to get out your comfort zone for 2026, I am here to help you because trust me, I've been there. I remember the days when I would just be looking to get out of my comfort zone, but the mental blockers would just stop me. I would just feel very much like scared to even make those steps to want to do better and try to achieve the things I wanted to achieve. And honestly, it can be crazy when you feel like you cannot get to your destination and you haven't even tried anything. You haven't even tried something new. You haven't even started speaking to people. You haven't even started to promote what you are offering or what you're selling. There's so many variables to what we can do to really raise awareness of what we're looking to do in the future. But there's something in our minds that just block us from actually wanting to make those things a reality. And I'm not sure if it's because it's just ingrained in us that, you know, I mentioned it in another video, actually. I said that our brains, it doesn't understand what a actual physical threat is compared to a threat in the mind. And anything that is deemed as something that's uncomfortable, unsettling, or I suppose cringeworthy is always going to set off like alarms in your head, in your brain, to say this is a threat. You cannot do this. Do not go down this route. But I realized over time, it's only when you actually start to hear those sort of alarm bells ringing and you choose to ignore it and you make that step into doing what you need to do, whether it comes down to making content, whether it comes down to producing a ebook that you're looking to sell, whether it comes down to going to a networking event, all those things rely on you really just turning the volume down in your brain when it's telling you you can't do this or you can't do that, or you're not skilled at this, or you're not an expert, or you're not well versed in that. Your brain will tell you absolutely anything it needs to say to stop you from doing these things. Trust me. When I first started making content and started putting out this daily content, right, my brain was telling me, listen, you can't do that. What makes you think you're capable? Stick to your thing, stay in your own lane. And had I listened to that in my brain, in my head, I wouldn't be here sharing these insights with you now. And we thank God for growth, right? We thank God for just, you know, just doing what we need to do, putting our trust in the good Lord and just keeping at it relentlessly, you know what I mean? But I say all this to say that you are not alone, and I want to help you in the pursuit of getting you out your comfort zone so you can start doing the things that you want to do, right? Because like I say, we got one life in one life. So with this, we need to really take the time to do the things that we want to do and the things that really just make us happy and the things that can actually allow us to grow as individuals. So let me just share my screen. So Chris Donnelly, he was actually on Timothy Armu's live launch session as well, to be fair. But what I didn't realize until the other day is this particular diagram. So with this diagram, I particularly, I'll share it in a moment. So with this diagram, it was something that I discovered a few months ago, actually. And it really helped to change my perspective on what it means to get out of my comfort zone and to really focus on those things that encourage growth and encourage you to learn and encourage you to get out of your own head and get out of your way when it comes down to doing things that I suppose can be a bit daunting or can scare you, right? And when it came down to, when I first discovered this actual diagram, I was very much in the orange. I was in the comfort zone, being familiar with everything, being secure, certainty, but zero growth. That was me. I was very much comfortable. I was earning a salary monthly. I was, getting the work done. I was, comfortable. No issues at all. Only issue is there was that niggling thought in my mind to say that I need to be doing more than this, and this can't be my life forever. That was the thought in my head at the time. But it took a considerable amount of time for me to really understand and to really take matters into my own hands, to really be on this mission to build a £1 million personal brand and to document that journey by dropping one video every day for 1,000 days, right? That process took a while, but once I got to that stage, I then identified where I was based on the diagram. And to this day, I still literally refer to this diagram when there's times where I'm feeling quite confident, but then there's something that I feel in my mind that's holding me back. And I look back at it as reference to be like, what is it in particular that's making me feel this way? Like I'm trying to get to the next stage, but something's holding me back. So I wanted to be transparent with you right now. So with that, so we got the fear zone. So we make excuses, we lack self-confidence, we're paralyzed by people's perception, and we're afraid of failure. So this was me for a very, 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 very long time, right? That was me for a very long time. I would make excuses. Back in the day, my friends will be like, oh, we're going to go to a networking event, let's go. And I would never go because I would finish work at maybe 6 o'clock. The event is at 7, I just want to go home. So I'm making excuses. Every time I'm being asked, so do you want to go to this event? Do you want to go to that event? I used to be like, oh, no, you know, I'm busy. I wasn't even busy at the time. I'm busy now. I'm busy like no man's business now. But back in the day, I wasn't as busy, but I just was making excuses because it was uncharted territory. I didn't want to get myself in that situation when I just didn't feel comfortable with doing it. The lack of self-confidence was a big one for me. Having that lack of self-confidence in yourself can really dampen the pursuit of what you want to do as well. So it took a lot of unlearning to get in that process, and being paralyzed by people's perception, that was a big one as well, man, honestly. And then I suppose I would say to some degree I was a people pleaser at some stage, you know, just doing what felt right for others rather than what felt right for myself. And as soon as I started to unlearn those things, I just no longer started to care what people had to say and what people were thinking. And for me doing this content was literally for me to provide a service to help you guys when you're feeling down or when you're feeling in a rut or when you're feeling like, you know, there's no way out. Because I guarantee you there are ways. You just got to get out your head and get to the point of building from your comfort zone into the growth zone, right? And when it comes down to opinions, you're going to hear opinions all the time, no matter whether you're doing something good or whether you're doing something bad, right? There's always going to be someone that has something to say. So you just need to accept that, take what they have to say with a pinch of salt. And if it's not even someone that you admire or someone that you actually aspire to be like, then it doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. It really doesn't matter. You just say, thank you very much, appreciate the feedback, and just keep it moving, man. And then being afraid of failure. Being afraid of failure for me was, I would say, the biggest thing. And I always say to myself that I've never once doubted my ability to think big and achieve big. But what it was the thought of, imagine I try and it just doesn't go to plan. And when you live life with that mindset, you've already limited yourself from the possibilities, because now I look at it like, what will happen if I do this? What can happen if I go about doing this, right? It's a whole different mindset approach to how I approach it now. I'm no longer afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not even trying. And I'm sitting there after all this time when I should have been really just grinding and getting on with things. And I'm just there complaining and just sitting around with people complaining about their lives, rather than just taking matters into my own hands and getting to work. So now I'm not afraid of failure. I will fail in public. That's completely fine, because I know that it's me being authentic with myself and showcasing what I'm doing and taking you on the journey with me. So with that, it's no longer about being afraid of failure. It's about being afraid of what you're not able to commit to, and you're living a life of regret. And I told you, I don't want that for you, man. That's why you're rocking with me, and that's why I'm rocking with you. So let me continue on this one. So right now, I would say I'm in the learning zone right now. I'm in the process of learning every single day and developing my skills. And like I say, I really love the platform of YouTube because it allows me to learn while I teach, and vice versa. And as I'm teaching, I'm learning new things as I go as well. And it's just a continuous loop of how I can continue to excel and improve. So with the learning zone, it extends the comfort zone, it increases your knowledge, it develops the confidence, enhanced motivation, and skill acquisition. And then let me tell you quickly about that part of enhanced motivation. Since I developed my roadmap of how I'm going to build this £1 million personal brand, I just have the utmost confidence and motivation that it will work, right? But as we know, motivation only gets us so far. It's about that discipline. It's about that discipline that we say to ourselves that we are going to do this at this time and we're going to get it done, right? It's about saying what you mean and meaning what you say and being a person of your word. And once you got that locked in, then you're good to go, because nothing is going to stop you on your path to greatness. You're going to be there sprinting like Usain Bolt and someone's going to try and knock you. It's not going to happen. You're too fast for that. You're too quick. So the skill acquisition part for me is a game changer, because as much as I know a lot of things regarding brand authority and your personal brand and your business brand and how you're able to build on that simultaneously, I would say one of the skills that I was potentially lacking is a way that I can showcase it in a way that makes it more simplified for everyone else to understand, and for me to really showcase it in a way that provides a formula that is more memorable, it's more catchy, it's a lot more easier to process compared to how it was previously. And I owe it all to the process of me documenting and recording this content, and for me just being a lot more courageous, ambitious, audacious, you get me? All of those things I had to put together in a way to learn over time. And through that, I've been very keen on upskilling. So through my content, through the way that I deliver, the way that I speak, the way that I do the work, all comes from a new heightened level of motivation alongside with the skill acquisition of me just learning how to do different things on the job. You know what I mean? The frequency of dropping daily videos is no joke, but through that, it allows me to actually learn things a lot more faster and to pick up things in a way that makes the most sense for me to streamline my efforts, right? And that's what you need to be doing as well. So you need to be in the learning zone. Once you get in the learning zone, then you're all good, because you're no longer making excuses. You're no longer having that lack of self-confidence. You know yourself. You know you're that person. Yeah, you know you're that guy, you're that gal. You know you are the person that gets things done. You no longer have to see sitting there being paralyzed by other people's perception or their opinions or whatever the case. All you need to do is focus on your mission at hand, allow people into your world to let them know that they can also make a change if they want to make a change. But if they don't, that's completely fine, because it's not up to you. And plenty of times in my life I spent now wanting to help everyone, but I can't help everyone. That's why I help you through the content I'm putting out on YouTube, because I'm telling you, life is just so busy right now. I'm just committed. I'm committed to my 1,000 days. That's all. Everything else is a bonus on top of that. I'm working on putting all the fundamentals in place so my infrastructure is solid, and there can be nothing that can take that away from me. So that it means if I need to be working every single day, then I need to, but I don't mind, because I love it. I love it, and it reinforces the things that I'm building for myself as well. So it's something that I'm more than willing to make the sacrifice in order to get where I need to get to, right? And then finally, we are in the growth zone. So we discovered our purpose now. We're setting new goals. We mobilize creativity. We're living our dreams, and we gain that fulfillment, right? And that's ultimately the sort of diagram that I'm living by. I always go through it sometimes just to check where I'm at. Like even the other day, if I'm being completely honest, like right now, I'm always in the learning zone. That's my pocket. However, there will be days where I lack self-confidence. There will be days where I'm afraid of failure. Those are the two things that I would say can be recurring depending on the day and the mood and all that sort of stuff. But as far as excuses are concerned, that's done. As soon as being paralyzed by people's perception, that's done. Listen, I'm here. What now? So ultimately, I hope this video helps, and I want you to really focus on understanding where you are at. Drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know where you believe you are at based on the zone. Are you in the comfort zone, the fear zone, the learning zone, or the growth zone? I'll be really intrigued to know. Right now, I'll say I'm in the learning zone. I'm knee deep in the learning zone and very much looking forward to get to the next stage of the growth zone as I continue to build on my journey of building a £1 million personal brand. So if that helped, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you tomorrow. Blessings. Look after yourself.